What's up, Toots? I am back with another Why You Should Read, and this recommendation is one that had me hooked from the first volume. Today I'm diving into a fresh, unique story that blends action, romance, and a touch of the bizarre, Marriagetoxin. Written by Jomiyaku and illustrated by Mizuki Yoda, this manga takes an unconventional approach to themes of marriage, assassination, and family, giving a wild ride you don't want to miss. As always, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. If you would like to support us, we do have a merch shop as well. Links will be in the description boxes down below. So without further ado, let's break it down. At the heart of Marriagetoxin is a brilliantly odd yet captivating premise that combines the intense world of assassination with the societal pressures of marriage. Jiro, the protagonist, comes from a long line of assassins who specialize in the art of toxins and poisons. He's an elite killer, feared and respected in the underworld for his lethal abilities. From a young age, Jiro has been groomed to carry on his family's legacy, taking lives with precision and skill. However, Jiro's family isn't just concerned with his professional prowess. They're equally, if not more, focused on the continuation of their bloodline. With no heirs to carry on their deadly traditions, the family is at risk of becoming extinct. This is where the marriage part of Marriagetoxin comes into play. Jiro's family puts immense pressure on him to find a wife and produce an heir to ensure their legacy endures. If he fails in this endeavor, his entire line could fade into obscurity. Now, here's where things get tricky. Jiro has never been interested in romance. Despite his ability to dispatch enemies with surgical precision, he's 100% completely clueless when it comes to relationships. Navigating social cues, building connections, and dating is like an alien concept for him. For someone so skilled in the art of death, he's pretty much inexperienced in the art of love. Now, to make matters worse, Jiro's assassin lifestyle complicates any chance of a normal courtship. His world is filled with danger, secrecy, and violence, making it super difficult to maintain stable relationships or even meet potential partners. And yet the clock is ticking, because if Jiro doesn't find a bride soon, his family will take matters into their own hands, which could lead to an even deadlier consequence. At its core, Marriagetoxin tells the story of Jiro's journey to balance the two extremes of his life: his duty as an assassin and the pressure to secure a romantic partner. What makes this story, though, truly stand out to me is how it seamlessly blends action, comedy, and deeper emotional undertones, all while still completely nailing the expectations in both the romance and genre actions. The story begins by plunging us into Jiro's world of assassination. He's efficient, lethal, and highly skilled in the art of poisons. The opening chapters, I think, really does a good job establishing him as someone completely in control of his deadly profession. But as soon as the subject of marriage comes up, we see the cracks in his otherwise stoic demeanor. His discomfort and lack of understanding of relationships is where the story finds its unique voice. Jiro's awkwardness with romance becomes the driving force of the plot, but it's not played just for laughs. There are real stakes involved, and that's where the heart of the story lies. The manga sets up various story arcs where Jiro is introduced to the potential romantic partner. Each encounter is unpredictable, with every potential match bringing out a different aspect of Jiro's personality. Now, originally I thought this was gonna kind of teeter into the harem genre, but honestly I think so far what they've been doing in the first 4 volumes that I've read have been really good, to where it's almost like he's actually, trying to figure out who his best romantic partner would be. Now, sometimes these women are tied to his profession, which leads to high stakes confrontations that blend action with romance, while other times they're completely normal, everyday people who don't quite understand the danger Jiro represents. Through these interactions, the manga explores different ideas about love, connection, and what it means to open up yourself to another person, even when you're trained to shut out emotions for the sake of survival. So this is what I mean by, it may come off as a harem. Well, I won't even say it comes off as a harem. Like, first glance, yes, you might think it's a harem because he's been introduced to so many different women, but they're honestly using these women to have Jiro explore what he is seeking in a romantic partner, basically. So it's essentially like, just like in real life, we date multiple people, not at the same time, hopefully, but we date multiple people and if it doesn't work out with that person, we learn from the experience and to learn about not only ourselves, but the dating world and other people as well. Now, one of the recurring elements in the story is Jiro's internal conflict. He's a man caught between his family's expectations and his own desires, or rather, his lack of desire for the traditional life they envision. The tension between family duty and personal freedom is a key theme throughout Marriagetoxin, as Jiro tries to reconcile his responsibility to continue his family line with his inability to connect on a romantic level. This theme resonates with me personally, especially those who feel a societal pressure or family pressure to follow certain life paths, whether it's getting married, having children, or pursuing a particular career. I feel like that's something that honestly everyone, at least in my generation, can relate to, because that's what was the norm for our parents. The manga also doesn't shy away from exploring darker aspects of family legacy and the consequences of failure. Jiro's family isn't just nudging him towards marriage, they are actively threatening him with dire consequences if he doesn't comply. This dynamic adds tension and a sense of urgency to the plot, reminding us that Jiro isn't just looking for love out of personal desire, but to survive the high stakes of his family expectations. This pressure creates a fascinating contrast between Jiro's personal struggle and the violent, unforgiving world he inhabits. Now, beyond personal stakes, Marriagetoxin also touches on broader themes of identity and purpose. As Jiro meets different people, each one challenges his worldview and pushes him to think about what he really wants in life beyond his assassin career. He begins to question if he's living solely for his family's approval, or if there's more to life than upholding a tradition that no longer resonates with him. It's honestly such a cool journey so far to see the internal struggle that Jiro is dealing with, essentially. And this internal journey makes Marriagetoxin more than just an action comedy. It's a character study of a man trying to redefine himself. Now, one other intriguing theme that I caught on to while I was reading this is how this manga uses love and death. As an assassin, Jiro is intimately familiar with death, but when it comes to love and life, he's completely lost. The idea that someone so skilled in taking life is unable to nurture or build a relationship adds depth to the narrative, essentially. The story plays with this contrast in interesting ways, exploring how Jiro's lethal profession affects his emotional life. Can someone who takes lives for a living still find a meaningful connection with another person? Is he capable of love, or has he gone too far? These are all things that I think this manga explores and does a really good job showing Jiro internally trying to figure this out. The last thing that plays a key role in how these elements are explored is definitely humor, preventing the story from becoming too dark. Jiro's complete lack of romantic experience is often played for laughs, with his stoic demeanor creating comedic moments when paired with characters who are more in touch with their emotions. The absurdity of a top-tier assassin trying to navigate the world of dating is a consistent source of humor, and the manga doesn't hold back from putting Jiro in awkward and hilarious situations. However, the comedy never undermines the emotional weight of the story, which I think is so hard to find in such, especially when you do like an action comedy, especially when it's something that's trying to kind of like implement all of these real world themes. So the comedy instead adds a layer of charm to the narrative, making Jiro's struggle both endearing and relatable. Finally, there's an overarching theme of transformation. Throughout the series, Jiro slowly evolves not just in his approach to love, but also in how he views himself and his role in the world. His encounters with potential romantic partners, allies, and enemies alike force him to go beyond the confines of his assassin training. This transformation keeps the story engaging as we witness Jiro's gradual shift from a cold, calculating killer to someone who might just be capable of love and perhaps a different future. Jiro as the protagonist is honestly the heart of this manga that I've seen so far. Now, for those of you who are familiar with our podcast and us as TooTaku knows, I've said this a million times, I'm not a big fan of MCs. However, I'm probably gonna have to stop saying that, man, because over the past few years, these MCs that have been coming out in mangas and anime, I've been finding myself to truly like them. And Jiro is no different. His stoic personality as an assassin contrasts hilariously with his fumbling attempts at social interactions. Like, he's just so awkward, and it's so funny to see an assassin who's just so awkward when it comes to love and just honestly personal relationships. But his awkwardness is so relatable that you can't but help root for him as he tries to navigate both love and honestly murder. Like, I also root for him when he's fighting, man. The supporting cast adds flavor to the story. The interactions between Jiro and the various women he meets are diverse and interesting, each bringing out different sides of him. Some characters serve to highlight his assassin prowess, while others push him towards emotional growth. You meet a lot of different assassins who are masters in their craft, as well as a lot of different women who Jiro find interesting and want to get to know more and teach him about different parts of himself that he didn't know. However, when it comes to the characters that stand out, it's definitely Jiro's handler, Kinosaki, who adds a fun layer of tension and comedy. Kinosaki's own hidden agenda and their banter with Jiro brings energy to every scene that they're in. Now when it comes to the art style, Mizuki Yoda's art is one of the strongest elements of the manga. The action sequences are sharp and dynamic, really bringing out the intensity of Jiro's assassin skills. The character designs are distinct, with Jiro's brooding look perfectly matching his personality. Meanwhile, the expressions during comedy moment are exaggerated just enough to enhance the humor without feeling out of place. The art style shifts smoothly between intense action and lighthearted moments, which reflects the manga's ability to balance its various tones. The use of shading and detail during serious moments contrasts nicely with the more simplified comedic art in lighter scenes. One of Marriagetoxin's other strengths is 100% its pacing. Jo Miyaku wastes no time getting into the meat of the story, and each chapter progresses the plot while revealing more about Jiro and the world he inhabits. I was actually super impressed with how well this plot kicked off. Like, it didn't wait until after volume 1 or after the first 3-4 chapters to really get into the meat of what this manga is going to be about. The humor doesn't bog down the story, and the romance doesn't overshadow the action, keeping a good balance throughout. There's always a forward momentum, whether it's through Jiro's battles or his personal growth, and the stakes rise steadily both in terms of Jiro's dangerous profession and his need to secure a partner, which keeps readers engaged without feeling rushed. So overall, Marriagetoxin is a fun and refreshing take on the action romance genre in my opinion. Its quirky premise, memorable characters, and dynamic art makes it stand out from a typical shonen fare. While it leans into humor, there are moments of genuine emotion and tension that keeps the story from feeling one-dimensional. And like I said, I'm only up to volume 4 because that was the latest release, and I'm gonna try to keep to sticking to reading the volumes, but I can tell just from the first 4 volumes that this manga is gonna dive deeper into hitting you in the feels. If you're looking for a manga that blends action with heart and humor, Marriagetoxin is definitely worth your time. Jiro's journey to find love in the deadliest way possible will keep you hooked, and you'll be left wanting more after each chapter. That's it for today's review. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more manga content here on TooTaku, and let me know what you think of Marriagetoxin. Is it a hit or does it miss the mark? Let's chat about it in the comments below. Until next time, guys.